I'm Len Sonia. I'm the head instructor of Dojo1 Martial Arts Academy in Marcy, New York. We offer Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with the gi, without the gi. We do striking, mainly Thai boxing and boxing, and we do mixed martial arts. I've been doing martial arts since I was a kid in school. I've dabbled just about everything: Taekwondo, Judo, Shotokan, Kung Fu. And about '94, I was in the military, and it was about the time of the Ultimate Fighting Championship. The first fight I actually saw was Extreme Fighting with Health Gracie, who was on the card, and he fought some Japanese guy. And it got me interested in it big time. I had taped that with the old VCR back then, and started to try to learn a couple moves. And I found a gym in the area to do boxing at because I thought I needed something other than Kung Fu to really be applicable in a situation. And it actually ended up being like a Jeet Kune Do gym, which did Thai boxing, shoot wrestling and stuff. So that kind of got me started on the grappling. And I just loved the grappling. I loved the Thai boxing, and I just stuck with it ever since. I always trained. I trained every day I could. I was in the military at the time. Sometimes I trained when I wasn't supposed to, but I did whatever I had to do to get out there and keep training with it. Erik Paulson. And he played a big influence. I always got to throw out that to him. He played more of an influence than he would ever probably realize to me. Just set the tone for my whole philosophy and my training and everything. And I hook up with him as much as I can. The last couple of years, unfortunately, I haven't really been able to get around with him, but I'll be seeing him soon. But regardless, I did Thai boxing with Ajahn Chai. But I moved back to New York and I started training out in Albany. I trained out there for a while, then I moved back to this area, Syracuse, and I trained at Tai Kai up in Syracuse. Trained with a lot of good wrestlers locally. Ryan Ciotoli, head of Bomb Squad, is a great wrestler. I hooked up with him a long time ago. He helped my wrestling out a ton. I ended up going out to the Midwest. Back, I don't know the year, back when Tim Sylvia and all those guys were still together at Pat Militech's. Right before he fought Rigo Rodriguez, I went out there, drove from here to there, which was a 12-hour drive. I showed up at like 5 in the morning sitting at the gym. They were with Powerhouse Fitness at the time, and I talked to Pat Militech on the phone, and I don't know, he probably has people call him all the time saying they'll come, if they can come out or whatever. And he showed up at like 6. He's like, asked me, he was like, "Oh, what's going on?" I told him I was a guy he talked to from New York the other day. He's like, "How'd you get here?" And I told him drive. He's like, thought I was crazy. But he said, like, lift weights, come down to my office after, and we'll talk. Because he has a lot of guys coming in and out as far as tough guys want to cause whatever. But I'm a pretty quiet guy. But we worked out. I went down to his office, and I just had the right attitude, whatever, and saw my ears were jacked up, so I didn't just pop out of the street. And that morning, he put me right. He had actually had Spencer Fisher there at the time, who had a fight coming up, and he's like, "I got someone you can wrestle." And he put me right in with the pro practice that day, and I trained with the pro practice, and it was a really good setup, and did well. Everybody did well. We had a good time, and I was out there for 3 weeks. The first week, they actually put me up in a hotel and he paid for everything, which was pretty good. And then after that, I lived at the house with like Tim Sylvia, Robbie Lawler and stuff for the next 2 weeks. And it was a good time. I thought I was going to stay out there a lot longer. I hurt my shoulder on the Whizzer, hit the ground. It was actually with Rich Clemente. He was out there training for a fight at the UFC at the same time. Maybe Yves Edwards he was fighting, I can't remember. But I came back to New York with the intention of going back out. Because Pat's like, you'd love to have you out here. It just never happened like that. But I stayed. I kept training, obviously. I flew out to California for a job interview at City Boxing right after Dean Lister left. They were looking for instructors. And I got the job. I drove back out there. It was me, Brandon Vera, and Tyrone Glover. I was out there for a while. They didn't quite work out like I wanted to as far as positioning, and I didn't want to have to do a whole bunch of weird jobs to survive and not be able to train, so I had to train. So I was back out here and just kept training, kept doing the same thing.
I trained a couple different places. I was out at Throwdown in California for probably like 4 or 5 months, and I don't know, nobody breaks down jiu-jitsu especially like him, and his tech and his striking also, he breaks it down really well. Even though we're mostly a grappling-based school, his striking is amazing. His wrestling, he just breaks things down so you can understand it. It just makes sense when he does it, not just showing a move and you're like, oh, why did he do that? He makes sure that you know why you're doing everything. I want to go anywhere else. I mean, I couldn't, you know, train a lot of other places, but I chose here. Can't really ask for any better training partners or coach than him. I think our school is a little more, you know, you have to want to learn and stuff like that. It's not just, you know, come in and like a karate school. You come in, you mess around and stuff like that. You really pick stuff up and progress here a lot faster than I feel other schools.
The guys train really hard. We got a lot of guys. One in particular is his name's Joel Burgess. He's 2-0 in Pro MMA. Super good grappler. He's focusing on his grappling right now. He does a lot of tournaments. He has the Pan Ams coming up this weekend. His grappling's phenomenal. I bring him around with me. You know, train with pro fighters. They're always like, "Oh man, bring Joel back down. He's awesome." He's just great. He's at the top of the list, and a lot of other guys coming up. We have some great wrestlers. Mark Giordano, who wrestled locally. He's great. You know, he's a great guy. His wrestling's great. He's mixing his jiu-jitsu with it really well. And we got a lot of guys. You know, I don't want to leave anybody out, but there's a lot of guys out there competing and just trying to. Some guys got different. Some guys really want to do well at MMA. Some guys want to focus more on the grappling, but everybody's doing really well. It's the first thing I always throw out there when guys, because guys get nervous. I used to hear all the time, I don't want to be in UFC, I don't want to do that. So that's why I try to focus more on the individual arts a lot, as far as this is a jiu-jitsu class, this is a boxing class. And then I'll have separate times for rolling, separate times for sparring. So if they want to come in, they're not pushed to that level. I have other classes where we go harder, but definitely I'm trying to get everybody in. And it's usually, as far as my experience goes, the guy that comes in and says, I just want to train, he's usually the guy that sticks around and actually could go somewhere. A lot of guys come in like, I don't want to be a fighter, and I see them for 3 times and then they're gone. So it's for everybody. I even have some kids in here who come in and do really well. We have a website. It's www.dojo1mma.com. The address is on there, my phone number is on there, and my email is on there. And that's the best way. We got everything on there, and I'm always open for calls and emails.